Nice.
Caleb, are you ready?
Hey.
Brad, are you ready?
Let's talk about
I'm
bicycles.
Good morning, everybody. Or afternoon, or evening, or middle of the night, whatever it may be, wherever you are. Welcome once again to Shiftless, the show that rarely takes more than 20 minutes to start talking bicycles.
And never deviates from the subject of bicycles.
And back with us today,
DJ Khaled.
I'm feeling whole and complete.
The boss with the sauce. Hey, Brad. Mm-hmm. Pour me some of that beautiful bean water over there.
I got you set up right here.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
You're good to go, man. Look at you.
That's a cool mug.
Yeah, our girl...
Our friend Christine.
Oh, I heard
Christine
about
made
these.
that.
Yeah, God. Christine, I want one.
I have a couple in my collection.
I donated
they are worth
to
the
her.
price of admission.
Yeah, I donated to her 24 Hours in the Canyon fundraiser to get that coffee cup. So
Okay. Does she make these?
Yes.
She does.
Yep.
Fantastic. That is... I am impressed.
Yeah. It's a sexy cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we ought to have a... I was thinking about this. Should we delve into the Instagram world and then I could take a picture of this and tag her and then... I feel like, we're kind of lacking on that. People want to see our faces, I feel like. I mean, they definitely want to see
Probably
Brad's.
Whatever.
Remind me at the end of this, and at the beginning of things, I set up all those accounts
Oh, okay.
on a just
I'll
in
take
case.
that over if you want me to.
You are more than welcome to. So, yeah, we're going to make Caleb our social media director.
Yes, I'm so good at being social, everybody knows. Hey, cheers, guys. It's a beautiful day. Brad, can we get a weather
Cheers.
report?
Oh, my God. Is it gorgeous? Cheers, boys.
Good coffee.
It's bluebird skies.
It's Disney Day, huh?
It's another Disney day.
Fortunately, we do have the house between us and the prevailing winds at the moment, so that helps tremendously.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the wind vane over there. It's not crazy. It's not like it was yesterday. Last night we
That
rode
was
into Denton,
Rough.
and it was headwind the whole way there. Was not pretty.
We got a beautiful tailwind on half the hot lap, though.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Adam degloved my legs last night.
Oh my God, he was ripping
We got
my
to
legs
the bottom
off.
of we got to the bottom. So, we do the hot lap at first. It's like a 11 and a half, 12 mile sprint,
Starting 4:30ish, right?
4:30ish, and it was pretty pleasant until we got to the backside of
It
hilltop.
was fucking spicy the whole way.
And that guy, we got to the bottom, and I was like, "This is the one that's, it's harder than it looks like." He's like, "Oh yeah, I know." And I was like, I'm done. And she gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to the top of I got to the top of hilltop, getting ready to take that drop, and you can see a long way.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be
Gone.
found.
Yeah.
Yeah. That boy is strong right now.
He's a monster. He's a monster.
When is he not strong?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like he's stronger.
Stronger.
Yeah, I ride a lot with him.
Is he after something? Does he have a goal?
I think he's just baseline badass. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just-
I didn't know if he had a project he was working on or something like that.
He does a lot of road rides where they get out there and
Well, I know that.
thrash, and then he was telling me sometimes they go out and they'll do 4-hour rides and try to stay in zone 2 the entire time. It's not about miles; it's about
I need that
that
shit.
time. Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
We were talking a lot
Super.
about how important slow riding is.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have somebody that joins us one day that can tell us a lot about
Oh,
that.
I hear. Yeah, you know somebody.
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
All right.
We'll see. I'm not going to announce anything until it happens because
Yep.
shit can fall apart.
Oh yeah.
So we got something pretty deep and important to talk about today. Do we want to?
Wells?
Huh?
Wells?
Wells?
Water wells?
Not that deep. Do we want to hit that first or do the fun and yucks and hit that last? I'd rather do that, then we can have plenty of time because it's a pretty good. I'm interested to talk about this.
Okay.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm feeling out of the loop here. So
Well, I'm talking about what you're going to present us with. Are we doing that?
Oh, we what
Wait, what are we even talking about?
the wreck. Is
The
that what
wreck,
you're talking
the
about?
incident.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if y'all want
Oh, I
to
definitely.
want to go down that.
That's a. Yeah. Let's do that second act. That way we can take our time on that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Hey,
I mean, it's
Luna.
definitely information that I do want to share information related to it now
Yeah.
that I can.
Yes.
I've been
Yeah.
holding back for damn close to 7 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to
Shed some light.
a little bit, not for my own purposes, just so people that are wondering are better filled in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, let's make that the downer half on the
The
back.
I don't think it's a. It's not a downer. It was a downer for you at the time, but you're here with us
Yeah.
in very good
And
form.
it'll be
considering.
it'll be serious conversation, but y'all know me that you're gonna bust my balls on stuff and I can take it, so that's all good. That's all
I don't
good.
think there's going to be any on that.
We'll see.
Pretty serious.
We'll see. I got
conversation.
faith in. I got faith in you.
Well, how about on a lighter note? Shimano just released a $160 drivetrain. It's an 8-speed. This is the
Is it-
completely opposite direction that you would think.
Is this the Q's stuff or something
It's
different?
ESSA.
Oh, okay.
ESSA.
Actually, Q's is more mid-level, right?
Yeah.
Caleb?
Well, this is supposed to
Yes.
work in conjunction with their Qs as well. It says ESSA is compatible with Shimano's current 8-speed systems, Acera, Altus, and Tourney TX. 409% gear range is certainly less than their 12-speed variant's 510%.
Well, most of that is in the last 3 jumps.
Oh,
the
yeah.
last 3
Yeah.
gears go
Yeah.
exponentially larger almost.
Yeah, that's
But
what I
also
was.
keep in mind the target market that they're shooting for with that group is going to be uncomfortable with shifting gears to begin with.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
So that's that's the training wheels, so to speak. Let's go into multiple gears world.
Yeah, but it's a decent looking Grupo for $160.
No,
I mean,
I'm really liking the stuff Shimano's throwing out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I am too.
I think the Q. And actually, so I'm assuming Caleb would be the actual person to ask at this table. What is the proper pronunciation? Is it Shimano or Shimano?
It's Shimano.
It is Shimano.
Yes.
Okay.
And I feel bad for not remembering his first name, but Mr. Shimano.
Atari or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
when they refer to him or the company, it's Shimano.
The reason I ask, I've been catching up on my Escape Collective podcasts, and the Across the Pond folks have a tendency to call it Shimano.
that's why I
Yeah.
was about to say, unless you're from the UK, it's Shimano.
I've been on phone calls with people from
Shimano?
Belgium and the Netherlands, and I can confirm that they are internally with Shimano, and it is Shimano.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you very much.
And I don't know a ton about ESSA. I knew it was coming, but we did not work on that. So I'm kind of reading specs that I didn't know about for the first time as well.
Yeah.
But Shimano seems to be trying to work across all levels of cyclists
Well, I think
and
like
hoping to feed the progression.
Yeah.
like we've alluded to and hearkened on so many times, we've got to get new riders.
Yes.
And I think especially with the way everything is shifting in the cycling world right now, new riders are going to be the rebirth of cycling and get it out of the hole that it's in. And I think this is a step in the right direction. You know, cheaper drivetrains rather than, $3,000 drivetrains.
Yeah.
I will do my homework and look into this and ask some questions, and I will report back.
This is a drop bar group. Yes?
No, this is a flat bar.
It's a flat bar. Okay,
Yes.
okay. I was just making.
Yeah, they
'cause I'm
actually
not-
have.
I'm not the cool kid with my MacBook in front of me
Yeah.
right now and not knowing how to work AirDrop.
And interesting enough for flat bar, it comes both with the thumb switch and the they call it the Revo shift, but the grip shift, which is interesting. Like they could have gone one way and said this is a entry level, and we're going to only offer one option to shift. But yeah,
that is a sexy cap, Brad. I like that one a lot.
Is it salsa?
Is it salsa?
How do they pronounce it in Europe?
Salad?
Then they released some new shifters. Also have some new shifters for the Q's family of drivetrains. These new shifters are focused at the smaller-handed members of the mountain bike world with reduced reach and improved ergonomics. So once again, trying to capture that younger rider, I think is a beautiful move.
Younger and or female.
Fair. Or tiny hands.
They are definitely,
Yeah, and you know what tiny hands means.
with their GRX stuff. Get off my MacBook Pro. Get off that. Get out of there, Buggy. Ergonomics is a big thing from them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ergonomics from not just...
I love the hoods on those GRX.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I would
Shiftless,
go
episode
to GRX.
56.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Shimano.
Shimano.
Yeah, I mean, we're working on things right now, and one of the touch points that they're going for, they look at ergonomics, it kind of goes back to tire size. Comfortable is fast over long distances, and so they are putting, their levers and the horns are a little larger because that's more comfortable over a long distance on gravel. So
Yeah.
what I'm getting at is, it does not surprise me. I didn't know about the new Q's stuff at all.
Yeah.
But that absolutely is on brand for them right now to take in consideration ergonomics and the difference in hand sizes. Like that's kind of a no-brainer. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, in retrospect, I mean, it's easy to go, oh, that's beautiful. That's super smart, you
Yeah.
know?
It is super smart, but is that an OEM decision, or is the expectation that a bike shop's going to get the right size levers and everything like that? Or
I don't know. That's a good question.
I think it's going to be both. I mean, I guess on smaller bikes that either come with cues or whatever else they have in the future, where ergonomics of the brake levers come in, it would make sense for an OEM standpoint to put
it does
those smaller levers and then also offer them as a bike shop buy.
standalone.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it more from what we seem to still be going more to the direct model for so many entry level cyclists. So if it's not being cared for at the OEM level, in those cases, if I buy a Canyon bike that's a small medium,
Yeah.
or a small or an extra small,
Yeah.
sure, it makes sense for Canyon to by default put the smaller levers on there.
Yes. And I'm assuming I'm assuming that the Q stuff could work with Diore and the other, like from a lever standpoint, because you look at some of the bikes. I mean, even Canyon does it. It'll say it'll be a mix match. Not everything will be XTR on the bike.
No, I get that.
So it would make sense. Even you could still have XTR or XT cranks and calipers, but put a smaller lever on a small. And Canyon goes to extra small too, don't they? Don't they have some excess on a couple of bikes?
I think, but I'm not positive.
But the idea is there.
Right. I guess what I'm getting at is I wouldn't rely on the end user to say, oh, I need the smaller grips and check that box sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, if they're not going to a shop to buy it, how is that going to make it into the consumer's hands, literally?
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, because I think the consumer that's looking for that doesn't know it's out there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I get exactly what you're saying. The weather doesn't look promising for the
Oh yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
I think y'all are putting way too much faith in forecasts this far out to begin with.
That's true.
And
That's
the
true.
forecasts I'm looking at, no, they don't look that bad.
Really?
They don't look that bad.
Okay.
Did you see? I sent you guys. Brad replied. Did you see the Facebook post as well as they tweeted it from Denton, the city of Denton Fire Department?
I did see
Interesting. Those guys don't play around on their social medias.
That's what I've been telling everyone for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
I-35 is going to be a fucking madhouse.
Well, they
all,
5 times the traffic.
5 times.
all weekend. Not just. It's going to be horrible Monday. I'm convinced Texas is going to be in a state of gridlock Monday.
Huh?
For any of our friends that listen, or anybody that listens that aren't our 5 friends that listen, so the listener 6,
I think I lost one
listener
over
5, 6, and 7, who are not in our area. Denton is in the middle part of Denton and north is in like the 99.95%, and as you go south, we're closer to totality. But anyway, the city of Denton's fire department released a statement, not only discussing the traffic that's coming in, but making sure you fill your gas up this week before the weekend hits, because there's going to be a gas shortage on Monday, and they're talking about the possibility of cell service disruption, which is, holy shit, I didn't think about that either.
And maybe I'm have a little bit better mindset for what's potentially coming, because we lived so close to Texas Motor Speedway at the prime of NASCAR, and so. Oh, yeah. NASCAR weekend coming into that area.
Yeah.
That's what this whole area is going to be like. So NASCAR weekend, we would fill up with gas, we would load up with groceries, and we would just stay at the house all weekend, because there was no point going anywhere.
Yeah, because it's a cluster.
Exactly.
Yes. I did drive through there. Kay and I went to, I think we went to the art museums last year.
At Texas Motor Speedway?
Yeah. There was a really unique interpretive sculpture garden. No, but we went to the museums down in Fort Worth, and we didn't even, not being NASCAR fans, we didn't know there was a race, and so we're getting closer, going south on 35. I'm like, oh fuck, and we zipped right past it. You guys talked last week about 35, how nice it was, but
it's super
like
nice.
Yeah, I'm not so afraid. I don't want to drive down there going in when people are coming in and out.
Yeah,
but I used to avoid it as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
When my kids were smaller, I used to make a lot of trips to Fort Worth, picking them up and dropping them off. And I would definitely take the Eagle Mountain Lake route, or the easterly route around sometimes to avoid that. But it's not so bad anymore.
That easterly route's pretty crappy now. But
I think they've gotten a lot more adept at dealing with the traffic in and out of there, and I think the construction's helped a little bit as well.
Then the popularity of NASCAR has waned tremendously. It doesn't even come close to selling out like it used to. So that's a big part of it. But
I think the rise of F1 has aided that.
There's a lot. Yeah, we could go super deep into that, and there's no need to, because this is not a NASCAR podcast. But my favorite part of 35 working properly and being able to get into Fort Worth, now I can just go back to riding the Fort Worth Trinity trails whenever I want to. That's realistically some of the best riding we have in the area. It's just it's fantastic riding.
I've not been down there since 2018. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
I used to go down there and ride that when I was training for the Rat, just to get a new view.
Continuous safe miles.
So since then, are there extensions? Are there improvements? What's the current state?
There's a few more sections of, I guess you would say, on the north side of the river. There's a new gravel section up there. There's a little bit more on the north side of the river, and some of the other stuff has been fleshed out, but no new extensions per se, no additional mileage, but it's a good ride, and you can still pull right up to Martin House if you want to and do that thing.
Yeah.
Or the stockyards. Easy trip into 7th.
Shout out to Dr. Josh Dean completing
his Doom plus that bonus mileage.
Yeah,
that's a monstrous effort.
He did it out there. Yeah, he's strong and stubborn.
Definitely stubborn.
Well, that's what you need.
And strong as hell.
That's what you need. Sometimes strength isn't the only thing.
Yeah.
Stubbornness is stronger than stronger strength.
It takes a lot of stubborn to do this stuff.
212 miles. I think it was 23,000 or 27,000.
I think he damn near Everested.
Yeah. 29 hours and 30 some odd minutes. He said 0 sleep. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a gargantuan effort that I have no interest in.
What he was done Saturday, done Sunday?
I'm trying to pull up his
Strava.
Strava's interface is so shitty.
Yeah, it's a little lackluster.
Wake up.
So you go to activities.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Here it is on the 29th.
Yeah. I remember when I learned to read a calendar.
Learned the internet?
Yeah.
When did he ride Red River Riot? He came out. This is last year. See what the?
What are you
whatever.
Doing?
Let's move on.
What are you doing?
Let's. Well, you told me to use the drop down, and it goes from April 3rd, 2023 to April 1st, 2024, and it's not in there. So anyway, whatever. Good job, Josh. Love you, dude. That was awesome to watch. Fuck. I quit.
All right, so 29 hours.
Yeah.
Do we know when he started rolling?
Don't.
Okay, all right, all
Don't.
right. Maybe we should invite Josh to join us and fill us in on these important details, because it sounds like he might have a story or two to tell.
Oh, I don't think you do an event that long without having a story.
Well, and quite frankly, that's the beauty of these types of rides and these events.
Yeah.
You have no choice but to come out of them with stories that last years, decades, rest of your life. Realistically, just from y'all's LBJ grassland strip last week, you're going to be talking about shit from that forever.
We talked about it last night.
Yeah.
Again.
What, grasslands?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun stories
It was
to
a lot of
tell.
fun.
Especially Adam's laughter. I'll never I'll never forget that.
What are you guys thinking at the moment for the Eclipse Day stuff?
I don't know. I think I'm going to play it by ear, depending on the weather. So we're planning on... I'm going to ramble on Sunday, for sure. I think Nipper's supposed to be in town.
I'm riding with them on Friday.
Yeah, I can't do Friday.
I know.
I got to prep all day Friday.
Yeah.
This is my whiskey dinner this weekend with Milam and Green. I'm excited. Gonna ramble on Sunday, and then I don't know about Monday. How far of a drive is it to where you're setting up?
Well, see, that's hard to say on Monday.
Yeah.
Because if the interstates are just completely log jammed,
That's what I'm...
it's an 8-hour drive.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to think.
So,
Like, I could maybe roll down there Sunday evening, but I think there may be a lot of people with the same idea, you know?
I don't think I think Sunday evening would be the better plan.
Yeah.
And I've got space for 2 more what they call shelters for you guys if you decide to do that. Mm-hmm. When we booked our group camping, I didn't realize this at the time, but it's limited to what they call 8 shelters. So RVs, campers, or tents. Now, I think like if you do a hammock or a bivvy in the pavilion, I don't think they count that as a shelter sort of thing.
I'll be hammocked.
I understand.
Yeah.
There's room for you guys,
Okay.
is what I'm saying. Our plan is I'm actually getting to just a regular campsite Saturday night, so I don't have to worry about pulling the camper around during the day Sunday if it is shitty traffic.
Yeah.
And then I have the group campsite reserved starting Sunday afternoon, so I'll move it over there Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
If sky conditions look favorable, I just plan to stay there. But if we're pretty sure sky conditions are going to be shit on Monday, I'm going to get up before the crack of ass Monday morning and drive 3 or 4 hours if I have to try to find clear skies. But I'm not even going to make those plans till we probably get within 48 hours
Yeah.
and have fairly solid weather forecast to work with. But I mean, we're going to be there Sunday night. We're going to be there Monday night, regardless. I've got some barbecue to sous vide and all that good stuff, and we're allowed to have coolers with the good stuff in it there and all that. So we'll still have a good time, and hopefully sky conditions just allow us to hang out at Lakeside through the whole weekend and not have to run around the world.
Yeah. That would be cool.
I don't know. I think I've held off making plans just because I didn't know what work was going to be like, whether or not Kay would be able to get off work. Turns out that's not going to be an issue, but I don't know. We live on the south end of Denton. Like, is it worth going out and battling crowds for 7 extra seconds?
What, 7 extra seconds? You know,
As south as we are in Denton?
No, you're only going to get like maybe 2 minutes of total. I don't even think that much. Maybe a minute and a half of total.
As opposed to what?
4 minutes and 20 seconds.
So you're telling me driving south of the lake, driving 8 miles from my house is going to add an extra 2.5 minutes?
No. To where we're camping, it's going to add that much.
Oh, I got you.
Or if you go east of Dallas, it's going to add. If you go out towards Greenville and Sulphur Springs.
Yeah,
and all that.
I just don't know if I want to fight that.
But no, I get that. If your choice is to leave 11 o'clock Monday morning, you're hosed.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. You're better off to hop on your bike and find some levees or ramble trails that get you towards Dallas.
Yeah.
And if you can get in the levees of Dallas and east east of Dallas, you'll get into 2.5, 3 minutes of totality. And that's a big... I mean, I drove to Nebraska in 17 for 90 seconds of totality, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So any totality is better than no totality. But trust me, every 30 seconds bonus you get is going to be...
and it feels longer. I get it. I it's in the middle of a work day.
I understand.
I'm kind of in the mindset of like, do I want to battle traffic not knowing if I'm even going to find a good spot? Is there going to be a million damn people out there? Whereas, like, it'd be a great spot to watch it, Brad? The top of the Hickory Creek Road construction. That big dirt mound that's 50 feet tall.
For sure.
It's almost above the tree line.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm still going with you want to get east of Dallas.
No, I get it.
You really do.
I'm finding it difficult to have a throbbing rager over it like you guys have. It's cool. I'm excited about it. I'm just not. And but Kay is like
just
same as you guys. She's like, oh, I'm down. But
do,
I'm like,
do me this favor, and I get where you come. Trust me, I get where you come. I'm not trying to convince you differently. I get that it doesn't seem like it's worth the effort, and that's perfectly fine and understandable. Just make me this promise that even if you don't go anywhere, you are going to step outside. And even if you only end up with 45 seconds of totality wherever you're at, you're definitely going to absorb it.
100%. Kay's already got the glasses.
Okay.
Like we're doing something. It's just I don't know if I want to drive.
And make sure it's totality. 99.99% doesn't get it. You have to be in the 100% totality path.
I'll figure it out.
And
you guys are stressing me over this. So much peer pressure.
Nobody's
It's like it's like you guys are trying to get me to take drugs. I don't do drugs.
first time for everything.
Can't wait. Brad, let's talk about that Redshift thing real quick.
Yeah.
I saw that this morning too, and I'm so glad you sent the link because this was as I was waking up, and while I was waiting for coffee to make, I was doom scrolling, and I saw it and went, holy shit, that's cool, and I scrolled right past it and forgot who was making it. So anyway, have you seen Redshift's new drop bar?
Their riser drop bar.
Yes.
With the kitchen sink.
No.
Oh, that one doesn't have the kitchen. I'm sorry.
Check this out.
I'm sorry.
It is a BMX style riser.
They call it the top shelf
Okay, that's right.
handlebar
That's right.
system.
I was getting confused.
So first off, visually, that's rad. That's really cool. But let's talk about the practicality of it. Why do I want it? Let's say, is this for like I've cut my stem too short. I can't put any more spacers to raise my stem up, and so I need an extra 50 to 70 mil, which is they have two options. Is that what this is for?
I think it's more just all-day comfort.
What does their marketing speak say?
The perfect top shelf handlebar system. The perfect handlebar for epic rides and epic comfort. See, going back to that's the comfort thing people are trying to hit on, the ergonomics.
It's all about. It's for anybody that wants that more upright seated position.
Yeah.
But with the additional hand positions.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's for. This is not for a 60-minute ride.
Yep.
And there's so many people that get caught up in building their gravel bikes, and they, for at most a 60 or 90-minute ride is like riding gravel's about 3, 4, 6 hours.
Yep.
Or more.
Right in the episode 40s, you guys talked about have we reached peak gravel technology and innovation, and I think this is pretty normal to where a particular product, whether it be bikes or vehicles or whatever,
Kind of plateaus a little bit.
It plateaus, and so they start looking for micro improvements.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Redshift has been putting out
They have
innovative stuff since day one.
I consider them an innovation company.
They go so much against the grain of the industry.
Yeah.
It's commendable.
Yeah. So Shimano's not the only one. Redshift's not the only one. Like comfort for performance is a big deal, right? Like this is not. Don't spend your money and buy this if your average rides are 2 hours, hour and a half. Like
right,
you're not
right.
getting any benefit. So the comfort. All right. Anyway,
The other
let me
thing
read it.
is more storage because now your entire bar is clear on the top.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's pretty smart too.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm thinking for us comfort sticks people,
Yep.
it's gonna make that setup even
easier.
Yeah.
And I mean, along those lines, I mean, I'm a huge Redshift fan. I mean, going back to the,
You've been a Redshift cuck since day one.
I really have.
Yeah.
I got that shock stop stem Gen 1, and
Yeah.
it, I've been preaching it ever since. I still think it's the best bang for the buck upgrade for the majority of gravel riders out there. But I also got the Redshift Aero bars with the quick clips, so you can just move them from bike to bike real
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Huge fan of those. And now I've got those lighted pedals of theirs.
Is Redshift the one that makes those?
Yes.
Oh, I did not.
Yes.
I didn't. I guess I didn't know that.
And I'm a huge fan of those. So
Arclight pedals.
yes,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
big props to Redshift,
Yeah.
and not because they are a Spinistry sponsor. They're a Spinistry sponsor because I reached out to them and said, "Guys, I really love your stuff," and
Yeah, they make cool shit.
and they like the way I've been talking about them. So
Well, they are all in on this handlebars. Typically, when a company releases some kind of innovative or a new way of thought, let me finish reading here. The perfect handlebar for epic rides and epic comfort. The top shelf handlebar gives you ultra comfortable upright riding positions with 50 or 70 millimeter, which equals to 2 or 2.75 inches for you imperial to metricisms, guys.
So
Of rise and easy reach to the drops.
So here is the one downside to almost everything Redshift that's out there. But realistically, if you're thinking along those lines, you're not their target market anyway. Everything Redshift does makes your bike heavier.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't even know what carbon is.
it. So
Carbron?
Carbon
I
fiber.
am definitely of an opinion that the vast majority of us get more speed from more comfort over 6 hours than shaving 15 grams, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So
Get all day 2.2 to 2.75 inches of rise and easy reach to drops. Get all day comfort and control plus extensive bar space to mount anything you need for your
That's-
on and off adventures. And this makes sense. So here's
Yeah.
here's one of the things I struggle with even on the grasslands, even futzing around with my Warbird, putting a little small, whether it's a small burrito bag on my Warbird or a big front roll, getting my light up and
Yeah.
over my roll.
Yeah.
And so like right now,
Yeah.
if you saw my Warbird last night, I have the Morsa with the little disc, the Coke can disc, and I have my light mounted under that, and it's kind of reaching over the bag, and you have to kind of weirdly get in
Yeah.
to zip it. I don't want to raise it up. I don't want to look
Yeah.
like Proctor with this.
Yeah.
Did you see his?
Yeah.
This is what Proctor's Garmin looked like. It was almost.
Yeah.
We stopped at
facing
one
vertical.
point and we were like, "Wait, are you using that thing as a sail?"
Yeah. Well, anyway, I've had to almost put my Garmin up. So anyway, raising it up, that's pretty cool. So they're offering up.
Well, Shannon mounted his on the top of his fork for bike packing because it just eliminates all of that.
What's that, his light?
His light.
Yeah, but I've done that before, and depending upon the type of light that you have and how it mounts,
Yeah.
you get a lot of bounce and
That's
wiggle.
what- that's
Yeah.
what-
way more on the fork than you would think.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying on the
Yeah.
tributary now. I've got
And you
my
get-
Lesign
Yeah.
wrapped around the
Yeah.
arch on the fork.
I would
Yeah.
love to try to maybe. I would love to put it. Didn't you at one point have your light at the bottom of your crown, atop your crown, mounted at the top of your fork, underneath your seat, underneath your?
No, it's been on that Morsa
Okay.
for quite
Somebody
some time.
we know did. Anyway, I'd be
Shannon
interested.
did. That's what I was
Shannon?
saying. He had a mount. You know the bolt mount on the Firestarter fork.
Yeah.
He bought a little mount that
But you
goes
said
for
it
his
was on
light.
it was on one of this fork.
No.
on the top,
At the
center.
crown.
Yeah,
Where that bolt
okay,
is.
yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's got a little mount that mounts there and actually holds it up a little
Yeah.
higher.
Kind of depends on the light too.
Yeah, it's a sin wave
Well, yeah.
or sine wave, however you say it.
You
But
definitely have to get the right light to make it work.
I think you have to get it up high enough too, so you're not casting a shadow with your tire. But that eliminates that.
So they're often bundle pricing if you combine the new bars with their cruise control
grips.
Add-ons, and then the really long bar tape.
Is the cruise control the ergonish?
Yeah.
I'm curious about
Yes,
those.
I am interested on the flat bar version, or the tops.
Yes.
Top bars.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to what I was saying about they're all in on it. They've got two different heights of rise and 3 different widths. I mean, they're in on this.
Yeah,
They're committed.
That's a lot to release.
They tested this and people loved it, and they said they're
whole hog on it.
Yeah, they are. And it kind of looks cool. I think the 70 may be a little too much, but anyway. But you know what? Someone's going to figure out a way to put a bag in that 70.
Yeah.
70 hole. Anyway, that's cool. I want to try that.
Well, they have their other bar, the kitchen sink handlebar system as well.
Price on that is I'm going to test all the different variations of the widths here.
$235.
No, buddy, that's the combo.
Yeah.
If you want just the bars, it's $139, which is not bad at all.
Episode 56 of Shiftless, brought to you by Redshift Sports.
Send us one.
Eric, hey, buddy,
one.
I'm going to send you a link to this. If you're interested in these two chuckleheads test driving any of this new stuff,
tell him if he sends me the 50, I will ride it at Unbound XL.
Ooh,
that would be cool.
And
what width do you need?
And we will do a debrief on it afterwards. Correct?
47,
sure.
probably.
Yeah, I need the 40. I need the 50, 47, Eric.
Yeah.
And I will send you a can of soup as trade if you add in the cruise control grips and the bar tape. I'll hook you up with something, maybe a hug, and a tug, but you never know.
Whoa.
What else?
Moving on.
There was something else I was gonna. Lucy, not Redshift. It was another company. I keep threatening to bring a notebook out here so I don't forget all my thoughts.
Well, if you're like me, you're smart and you jot it down on a note on a 3M sticky note, but then you fail and you leave it at home.
So back to Josh Dean, because Josh Dean's actually the one that sent me that link on that bar. I was lurking on his Strava, and I noticed in one of his pictures, and I feel weird that I didn't get to talk to him about this last time. He's running this, I guess it's a Chinese company. They have a 12-speed transmission, shifter, and derailleur. They make a bunch of stuff, as a matter of fact. It's called L-TWOO. L-TWOO. And I'd never heard of them before, but they make a ton of shifting components. And I'm sure that they're all...
knockoffs?
Retro engineered, if you will.
No, I'll say knockoffs.
Yeah,
but
stolen.
I won't go that far.
Yeah, but they make foldable bike group sets. I'm sure this is supposed to say bikes, but it says Biles, B-I-L-E-S. Children and teens. They make gravel series, road series, damping, MTB. I don't know what that means, and multifunction MTB, which is what he's running, which is the AX. It's a 12-speed.
I'm not sure I follow what you're saying. So it's the same as a SRAM transmission?
No.
Okay,
no.
well, you said transmission, so...
Well, did I say transmission?
You did.
Oh, my bad. No, I said group set. They make a bunch of group sets.
Okay.
We'll
listen next week and see what you said.
I probably said exactly what you said I said. But it's kind of sexy looking. It's black with gold accents, and looks like a banger 12-speed derailleur with a clutch and everything. So, I don't know. I don't know what their pricing is like.
Well, I mean, if Josh and Sean are talking about it, it's got to be aggressive, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
sarcasm detected. L-TWOO.
I mean, I've generally heard good stuff about the microshift stuff for the past several years.
Yeah. Same.
My guess is, I mean, the only way you can compete at this level is to be, significantly lesser in value.
$50.99 for a 12-speed rear derailleur.
That's aggressive.
That's pretty insane. This is not the newer one, though. This is an older one.
Okay.
Yeah, because this says, okay, 295 grams. The other one I was looking at was lighter than that and looked
Aren't
a
they-
little sexier.
Isn't sub 200 kind of the sweet spot, or am I?
Not for a 12-speed.
Okay.
What are you doing, Caleb?
Sorry. I'm in.
You trying to solve algorithms?
Yeah,
Al's Go Rhythm.
he's looking at your OnlyFans.
I found the feet.
There's 3 feet pics on there. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh, I waxed my chain. I finally got my setup. Waxed my chain. It was just
You should put your waxing on OnlyFans. That's what you should do.
Yeah, do some slow-mo videos of me dunking my chain in the wax. It was
Dunk it.
just as easy as advertised. It was the most seamless process ever.
Episode 56, brought to you by Silka. Josh Portner, reach out.
It was the most difficult thing about the whole thing is once your chain is set, just breaking all the links free. That was literally the most difficult part. I installed it Sunday morning before we took off to go ramble. Rode through shitty conditions, and my chain stayed completely quiet the whole time, and my shifts were just butter.
Couldn't you just run it through your jockey wheel and zig, 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 back and forth to break it up?
No, I mean when you take it off,
you want to break the
it's hard.
It's rigid.
Really?
It's
I mean, it is.
OnlyFans rigid.
It is. It is wedding night rigid. It is crazy.
Guys.
But broke it loose and installed it, and that thing is butter.
Yeah.
I mean butter. I did take my chain ring off and completely detail it and cleaned up my jockey wheels and
Nice,
everything.
nice.
I even washed my bike.
What
but then it got
what
muddy.
is your jockey wheel cleanup procedure?
I use a screwdriver to get the majority of the gunk off of the teeth. I use a little bitty screwdriver, and then I use a brush. Got like a Pedro's brush. And then I took my chain ring completely off of my crank. So I pulled my crank, left my bottom bracket intact. It's a brand new bottom bracket. But I had some creaking noise coming from my bottom bracket, and I suspected that my chain ring was either not tight or had some funk behind, but in the interface. So I took
Had a grime bind.
Yeah, I took it apart and cleaned everything up, and cleaned the bolts up, and re-greased and reapplied and everything. That was what I was going to mention. There's a BB Infinite. Have you guys heard of these guys? They've been plaguing my social media feed, and they're touting their bottom brackets as being some of the best bottom brackets out there. And the videos they show are astounding as far as someone spinning their crank, and the cranks just look like there's zero drag on them.
Who is this?
BB Infinite.
BB Infinite.
So
It sounds like a rapper.
I'm thinking about getting one of their bottom brackets because they say that even with their ceramic bearings, that they have a let me see, press fit, external road. That's not what I wanted. Threaded mountain bike. They say even with their ceramic tech, which is kind of a hybrid system, that it's got a longer life than a normal bottom bracket because of all their seal systems and everything. But it's tremendous looking, and their bottom brackets aren't crazy for the Ceramitech, which is the hybridized. It's $170, which is not insane for a decent
What are you
bottom
looking
bracket.
at? I'm looking at the Ceramitech for Shimano is $230.
Well, are you looking at the WS2 coated Ceramitech or the
No.
Ceramitech?
The BB92.
Okay, hold up. Let me get back to that.
Okay.
Are you on mountain bike bottom brackets?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was looking at all GXP because that's what I need for.
So what are their different levels? Ceramitech and Primo Ceramitech?
And then they have coated Ceramitech, and then ABEX 7. What is that?
Which
I
is
don't know
just
what that
it's a rating on bearings.
is that ceramic or steel?
No, that's steel.
Steel.
That's going to
Okay.
be steel bearings.
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah, but so with the Shimano is more expensive.
so what's the steel only version, just for a reference?
on the
175.
Shimano, 175.
Versus 230.
for the middle level is 230,
230.
and the higher level, the WS2 is 300.
300.
Okay, let's talk about this because I've heard some pretty strong HSOs on ceramic versus steel.
That's where I was just about
like
to go.
is the
What's the HSO
Hot
for the
sports
listeners?
opinion.
Okay.
Hot sports opinion?
I was just clearing it up for Tracy in Wisconsin.
Yeah, thanks, Tracy. So there's probably and
Overrated.
there's arguably a little better performance of ceramic, but not based. Everyone that I've talked to that say don't do ceramic is that it's not worth the cost.
It's not worth the cost because the ceramic benefit disappears after 2 rides.
No.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is if these guys, if DJ BB Infinite, MCBB Infinite has this good a performance, maybe their steel bearing
Is better.
brackets are better than some of the other guys, which is I would be interested in testing that out. I have zero interest in paying $300 for a bottom bracket.
Same.
No.
But $175 highly efficient bottom bracket that lasts forever.
Yeah, I will try that.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna double check my size and I'm gonna order one.
Okay.
Because I do want to install it and see.
What's the name of this company again?
BB Infinite.
Episode 56 brought to you by BB Infinite.
And it looks like they carry every shape, size, and form of a high-end bottom bracket that you would even want. But the problem, the reason it caught my attention is with the GXP style crank, which is what SRAM runs. They run this. It's really a bad design, in my opinion. On the drive side, there is a plasticized flange that goes up against your chain ring and goes into the bearing for on the drive side to make up the space between the bearing and the shaft of the bottom, or the axle, I guess, of the bottom bracket. And so over time, you get wear on that, and then that plasticized flange begins to deteriorate, and you get slop in your bottom bracket, and it has nothing to do with your bearing. It has to do with that plastic deteriorating.
Okay.
So they've eliminated that they have their own proprietary piece that goes on there that it's aluminum that ceases that, and they make up that difference in the bearing so the interface is exact and it doesn't deteriorate over time. So you get way less drag in that whole system. That's kind of one of the things they're touting, which I think is pretty smart. So I'm interested to get it and try it out. So
for which bike are you thinking for?
Fargo.
Okay, for the Fargo. And are you at the point of needing a new bottom bracket on that regardless, or is this just kind of sexy and you want to play with it?
No, I just bought one right before Grasslands because my old one was shot.
Okay.
But
what is your go-to bottom bracket currently?
Man, whatever the bike shop has in stock. I typically abuse my bike so bad that I don't.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I have not come across a lifetime bottom bracket.
Yeah. I mean, on my single speed, I have White Industries bottom bracket just because I love.
Well, it's white.
Yeah.
So.
In fact, we were talking about that last night. There's so many good companies that don't get their flowers, like Paul Components and White Industries and Paragon Machine Works.
No matter how you look at it, it's a niche industry, regardless.
I know.
And then you start taking it to those levels. That's niche upon niche upon niche.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we were talking about last night is, started out by talking about Shimano brakes and SRAM brakes and blah, 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 and proprietary bleeding systems and all that. And Proctor and I got to talking, and I said, dude, I mean, because I'm a SRAM boy. I'm a SRAM fan. And then not a RockShox fan. I'm a Fox fan. And that just kind of paints you into a camp. And then Proctor goes, but what about brakes? Are you a SRAM brake fan? I said, no, don't get me twisted.
Yeah.
SRAM hasn't made a decent pair of brakes, in my opinion, that I've ever touched. I told him, I said, dude, I'm a Paul Components fan when it comes to brakes. I said, the barrier for entry is expensive, but the thing about it is they've been around for 30 years. you can buy every ball bearing, every spring, every bolt on that clamper for the life of it. And if it's something that failed from their side, they're going to warranty it. They take care of you. And like I was telling him, I said, if you were ambitious enough, you could go onto their site and buy every component and build your own clamper if you wanted.
Yeah.
And I said, that just makes me super happy. Awesome,
Episode 56, brought to you by Paul Bicycle Components and White Industries.
Dude. And that's the other thing is,
And Paragon Machine Works, because it's all cool shit.
yeah, I mean, I've been calling White Industries for 25 years, and Peggy always answers the phone. I mean, there's something to be said about that,
There's something to be said for the Spinistry logo still being the Spinistry logo,
Yeah.
They're Paul's only. They only do mechanical brakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're kind of like frozen in time, They built bad shit and they said we're going to keep building bad shit.
Badass shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I mean, they're a
good.
machine shop, Ultimately that's what they do. They machine metal and they just make kick-ass components, man.
Yeah, and they have a lot of color options, which is always cool.
Yeah. One of their there was a derailleur war that took place about the time that SRAM entered into drivetrains, and Paul was famously milling and machining all aluminum derailleurs back then, and they put out, and I think you can find them from time to time, but they're hilariously expensive. They made a Rasta version of a derailleur that was one of the coolest pieces of tech I've ever seen.
Coolest bike component ever made.
It's a
pretty
collector's
impressive.
item. Pretty impressive. So,
Well, I've got the Paul EBB converter in that loft single speed that I set up, and that's, where it just takes any bottom bracket shell, makes it an EBB. That's just dead ass sexy as hell.
Here's a used Paul derailleur on eBay. Not even the Rasta, and it's an 8-speed derailleur from the 1990s, and it's going for $1,332.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Rasta one's a $5,000 derailleur.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, here's one from their museum, from a museum, from Bike Recyclery, and it was listed for $999, but it doesn't say what it actually sold for.
A Rasta? Mm-hmm. Shit, I would buy that.
Just because it says Rasta?
I am a fan of
Those are your... Holy shit, you need a Spinistry logo on there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How sexy is that, though? I mean, Paul's just been making bad shit, and he's a kick-ass dude. I actually got a chance to have beers with him at Single Speed Worlds in Durango back in 2009. And just a...
You remember that trip?
Yeah.
Okay.
But just a super chill, humble dude. He doesn't espouse himself as a badass machiner or anything like that. He's just a guy that does stuff,
Speaking of Durango, funny story. I went did I go this year or last year? End of last year, I went to Durango for work. And have you ever? Here's a funny joke.
Have you ever had a dream?
You ever had a dream?
Have you ever watched Gladiators?
You ever seen a grown man naked, Bobby?
Oh, that's a throwback right there. The video came through the other day where he's walking through the airport and people are trying to like shake his hand, take a photo, get an autograph, and then he finally just like jiu-jitsu trips the guy out of the way. Anyway, back to story. If you're ever in a town, you're at a restaurant or a bar, and you're chatting up the bartender or the waitress or whatever, slide in a slight mispronunciation of the city you're in. She was bringing me my I went to this badass restaurant. I can't remember the name.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
But they had the coolest cocktail names. They had some kind of Scotch drink that's very similar to a rusty nail, but they called it a coffin varnish, which that's a fucking brilliant name. Anyway, she goes, so you here for business or pleasure? I'm like, oh, I'm here for work. And she goes, oh, how you like it so far? I was like, I love it. Durango is beautiful. And I said it like just like that. And she went,
Durango.
She had the cute the confused puppy dog look like what? Huh? And then she kind of is like, but she never tried to correct me. She never corrected me. But yeah, anyway.
That reminds me of one of my favorite FedEx commercials when he goes, I need to ship this to the capital of Arizona. And he goes, you mean Phoenix? And he goes, no, Pahonix.
Yeah, see? There you go.
I've never seen that one.
It's
Never seen
hysterical.
that one.
I didn't do it any good because it's way better than my delivery, but it is one of the funniest. This guy's so committed. He's like, no, it's Pahonix. Everybody knows that.
What else?
I do want to real quickly do a humble brag, if I can.
Go
Do
for
it.
it.
We had our 2024 edition of the Red River Riot this past weekend.
Yes.
And I am very, very stoked by the outcome of the highest level performers. It gives me hope for the spirit of gravel, quite frankly.
Did I see that right, that Lauren Stevens won overall?
Lauren Stevens, overall winner of the 200K, 125 mile.
Hell yeah.
That is...
Get it, girl.
That's awesome. And Matt Stevens came in
Third, Corey Ray
Right,
second.
Yeah. So is Matt Stevens off form, or did he have a mechanical, or...
She's stronger than him right now.
Yeah.
Is my understanding.
How does that dynamic work in the household?
I think they're okay with it.
Yeah.
I think he's very supportive.
Yeah. That's kick-ass, though, to have a couple filling up 2 spots on the podium.
A couple on the podium. That part was a first.
Yeah.
And here's where my humble brag comes in. This is not the first time that the overall Red River Riot has been won by a female. I think it's the 3rd time, actually.
That is kick-ass.
So that part's really cool. That's the 200K. The 100K was won by Mr. Chris Carlson.
Always strong.
Always strong, but he's
51, too?
no 60.
Oh, shit.
Something now. I'm pretty sure.
And still looks like he's doing
40.
adrenochrome.
Yeah.
Him and Carl.
So, and then our 3rd place was Cullen Dar, a 17-year-old. So, man,
That's great,
We're
man.
covering a lot of
Yeah.
demographic there. And then
What was the time for the 100K, roughly?
Oh my God! Now you
Just guesstimate. I mean, was it in the mid 3?
I would assume mid 3.
You don't have to pull it up. I'm just wondering.
I'm going to assume they were pretty close to their 20 mile an hour average would be my guess.
Yeah. Are these times maybe on a website
They
that
are.
we could access via
If
one of these
only
war
there
dialers?
was a place to where you could pull up data.
They are, but there's not an easy URL for it.
Oh, that's fair.
It's the bikesignup.com/tx
Yeah, to
/20.
get-
I'm out. You already lost me.
Exact my point.
How
It's
many?
it's like
this
telling
should
me-
be easy to answer. How many number plates do you hand out?
We had 320
Nice.
something show up
Very nice.
out of 400.
That's good.
Oh,
and
that percentage
so
is good.
That's with the vast majority being the free clubs
Yeah.
ministry entries, which is kind of that's taking us down to the 50 to 60%, depending on the weather, which we understood. We had over 70% show up for this one.
I take it Austin Whittington was not present.
I think he was one of the no shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Hocamp.
Hocamp was there.
Ben was definitely.
Okay.
Was definitely. He's not on his A game right now, but
Okay.
him and his dad had a good time.
His
Yeah.
A game is still better than.
His Z game is.
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, I don't want to complain when Hocamp's not on his A game.
Even his dad, who is an absolute sweetheart,
He is
too,
I think
a genuine man.
I think he's
Yeah.
the nicest guy in the world, quite frankly.
It's almost sickening how nice he is. You know.
I'll throw it out there so Kevin doesn't have to. Red River Ride is a fantastic gravel race that Kevin puts on. Starts out at 4 Hour Ranch in Munster, Texas, which is a beautiful part of town. And you ride all the way up to the Red River if you're probably doing the long route. Does the 100K go to the river as well?
Not presently.
Okay.
But that can change. We mix up the route every year.
I think
Yeah.
this is my second year to miss it. I was actually in Baton Rouge for visiting family. One of my favorite races. One of my favorite things about it is I love mixed surface races. And a couple years ago, you started including part of the single track there. How much single track did you have this year? Was it more or less? How was it?
Generally, it was less. The way we did it this year, only the 200K riders did proper single track. So they came in under the tasting room, hung a right, caught the last bit of downhill single track, and then they went through our cow pasture road and picked up our big rough climb that we've added in. That's not technically part of the regular mountain bike course, but it's part of the Spinistry Loop whenever we do mountain bike races out there. And it is a feature. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
I was thinking about this last night. It's unfortunate that Red River Riot is only 3 R's, and you're hosting it at 4 R
Rs.
Ranch. I think you need to figure out how you get another R in that Red River Riot.
The Red River Riot ass rip. No.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So we're going to put all new GRX on your bike this coming week.
Yeah. Looks like the weather for Tuesday is going to be shit.
Shite. Yep.
So let's
have a wrench night.
Let's do it. I'll bring a little bit of food.
I'll clean out my garage before then.
So to our 4 listeners, to Breg, Josh, Sean, and
Shannon.
Shannon. I'm taking my good old trusty 2018 Rival Cutthroat and converting it to pretty much 98% GRX.
Yeah.
You and I
shifters.
Shifter. The only thing that will not be GRX. There's two things. You have to. No, I can do GRX derailleur. You have to swap the chain ring.
Yeah.
And you have to use because the Cutthroat is a freak. It has a mountain bike bottom bracket, so I'm putting an XTR bottom bracket on it.
Yeah.
Race face. So I purchased the cranks, and the smallest chainring on the GRX cranks is a 40. It comes in a 40 and a 42.
Yeah.
But that's too big for that gets in chain line issues and shit like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to take that chainring off, and I'm going to use a race face 30. I think I bought a 36.
Yeah.
Is what I ordered, which seems good. And eventually I'll get the 38, and if I need it, I don't know if I'll ever need a 30.
Do you have your driver?
Gabe ordered a driver, so I guess that's technically a non-Shimano. Is that a Shimano part? Driver?
I think it should be.
It should be, yeah. And then we're gonna make this thing. I love that bike, and it has a lot of really good qualities because it's good at a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things that it's not amazingly fantastic, which is a gear range. It's fantastic for bike packing, right? I can get it down, the gears down really, really small or big, easier to climb.
Yeah.
What it does lack in is the ability to get a little bit of road gear on it, and so putting the GRX stuff on it is going to give me a much wider range.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm getting one extra gear. I'm going from an 11 speed to a 12 speed.
Yeah.
Super excited about that.
12.
But why not just make 10 bigger? Going back to what you said, I've had this conversation with my Shimano guys. I love how the SRAM, I love the click of the SRAM shifter.
Yes.
I mean, and the Rival, when they put that Rival on there, that Rival was 3 years old.
Yeah.
And that bike was purchased in 2018. So it's a fairly old, based on where we are now.
Sure,
I mean, it's an older, it could be 10 years old, that technology, but I love that click, and it's fast. I love that, but those brakes are shit.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, riding it. When did I ride it last? Well, what's the pink tube? Ready tube?
Yeah.
It got
Ride Now.
Ride Now. Got me all the way back from the grasslands.
Episode 56 brought to you by.
Not quite. Hold that thought.
Hold on.
Hold that thought.
I guess it was Tuesday or Wednesday morning of this last week. Went outside to tinker in the garage. Flat as fuck. I did ride it a couple of times since I've been back, but not big rides and pretty much all pavement because it's been muddy and all that.
I wonder if that's the nature of those tubes. I wonder if they just weep over time.
Yeah, I think that they probably just they just are biodegradable.
So did you air it up or did you replace it?
I took it out.
Yeah.
And I have a non-skin wall mezcal in the front, and I have a skin wall mezcal in the back, and it looks badass. And I will
the mullet.
Yep. So
here's my question though: what did you do with that tube? Because I'm curious.
I trashed it with the tire.
Oh, see, we needed to evaluate it and see where the leak was.
I wanted you to put air in it and see what had happened.
She gone.
What had happened?
Do you think there was a hole in it, or do you think that tube just the membrane is so thin, or maybe the stands deteriorated it? Like that's what I'm curious about. I want to know.
Well, why didn't you jackasses tell me that ahead of time?
I'm just now hearing about this.
Yeah. What was I supposed to? Let me get my time traveling machine.
Okay,
we do need to do a post-mortem on one.
I will say, oddly enough, there was liquid leaking out of the bottom of the tread, but I didn't even check it for holes. I thought maybe I must have rolled over or something. But
so you're saying you punctured it?
Yeah, you probably punctured it.
Maybe I punctured it. Yeah. Anyway, that tire and that tube are gone.
Yeah, they serve their purpose. But it still would appease my curiosity to know what the failure point of that tube was.
When did you throw it away?
Oh, she gone.
She gone.
Yeah, this was last week's trash, and today's trash is coming today.
Yeah, I hear you.
So anyway, doing it Tuesday night. We're going to do wrench night because the weather's going to be shit, and that's where we're going to do the GRX swap over.
Yeah, I'm excited about.
There may or may not be some Rocky Mountain soda pops involved.
Yeah, I do expect you and Justin Carey to line up side by side at XL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I need to get with him. I don't know him.
Yeah.
We did link up. I think we linked up on Strava and on Facebook, but I need to just, he's probably got a different strategy than me. I don't know.
And remind me, you do tracking for the XL, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, you're required.
Yeah, I think you have to.
You have to have a tracker. Yeah, they have not sent out the. I don't know. I don't even know if they do use track leaders. There's a new one. There's a new company out. Yeah, it's the one that did Gravel Dune for Josh. It's a whole new.
It's an alternate. I don't know if the new.
Yeah.
If it's the one I'm thinking.
The interface is. If track leaders has a competitor, they better step it up or they're going to die because this interface is way better. I mean that will kill a company. I promise.
Well, I mean, track leaders is kind of been sitting on their hands for over 10 years now. They really haven't done any upgrades, have they?
Yeah, nothing aware of. The other thing is just side note, going kind of revisiting our Garmin Messenger and mapping and all that stuff. Did you notice that I was able to put the track on the Explorer map? So when you send someone your map share out for Explorer, typically all they do is see where you've been.
I did see
there
that.
There is a feature that you can upload the GPX file.
Yes.
Or maybe the fit file. I think it's a GPX because that's strictly the navigational data.
Or KML maybe.
Yeah, and it will display it. However, it will. I noticed that it would not display on the mobile website. So desktop, it would show up fine.
Not true.
Did it work for you
on my Android? Because that's
interesting. Because
that's how I knew you guys had missed that one turn.
Well, there were a couple of times that that I looked on my phone and it did not show up.
Now I say that I can't remember the specifics, but there were some plots on your projected track that seemed odd. I didn't know if it was things that I had misplotted when you made your adjustments, or if it was adjustments you had made yourself. It's like I don't think I would have done it that way on my end, but that's way in the weeds. Let's not go there.
Well, we started on one subject and we managed to cover about 4 at the same time. So
shiny.
Yeah, who has ADHD pills that they could hand out? All right, let's get into the nitty gritty. Do you want to open this up, or do you want me to kind of tee it up, or?
You start from your point of view, and I'll adjust from there if needed.
So in different bits of information, I knew that you had been hit by a car. Never really in 2017, in October, as a matter of fact, right?
May. Memorial Day weekend. 2017.
And I knew that it happened, and I never really talked about it. You mentioned a couple of weeks ago, hey guys, it's a done deal. All the things I had to go through from legalities, I can finally talk about it openly. And then you shared with us the video, and I will describe what I saw and heard in the video, and then we can go from there. Maybe it's a rear view camera video of you on your bike. Looks like you're going through a pretty rural. I hate that word.
It's such a tough one. I can't ever say it well.
Rural.
Rural.
Yeah.
Rural.
RURUL.
Rural.
Country roads. You're riding through
Rural.
large property, big plot country roads, paved, riding along, and the next thing you know, I'm looking at pretty blue skies and trees, and the next thing I know, it's your camera sliding across the pavement. And don't see you, but can hear you in the background. The guy, whoever's driving the car, gets out, and he says, he keeps asking you, "Are you okay?" And you keep telling him, "Call the fucking ambulance."
Yeah.
Quit asking me if I'm okay and just call. And he does seem to, maybe he's in shock, but he didn't seem very helpful.
That was the way I interpreted it at the time as well.
Now,
And continuously downplayed
yes.
the state of affairs.
Yes, but I will say, if there is a favorite part of such a terrible thing to watch on a video, was when you tell him he better bring a police officer because you're going to kick his ass. But okay, here's what I got out of it. Different people have different responses to things like that. In no way, shape, or form does this directed to you personally, but I was surprised how sharp of mind you were, how you were able to articulate and correct him and answer questions, and even he should have been giving the details to the authorities, but instead you were having to give them to him, and you were very sharp. I'm thinking, if I get hit, and you even said your helmet's cracked, you hit your fucking head hard.
Yeah.
But you were still really sharp, like surprisingly sharp, considering what had just happened. You had your wits about you. Were you ever dizzy, or you didn't lose consciousness?
No, it wasn't that sort of head impact that it was immediately. It was, there was ringing in my ears type of thing. So it's like I probably hit my head and looked at my helmet. Oh yeah, I hit my head.
Yeah.
But there didn't, not that I recall. I think there was a lot of adrenaline involved in that.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
That perceived sharpness, quite frankly.
Yeah. Do you remember in hindsight? Maybe you do now, but did you go through a part where I don't remember until you watch the video? Maybe
it's going to sound cliche, but you know how people talk about when they knew they were going to die, everything just slowed down, and every moment they remembered.
Yeah.
I remember every split second of that, which I've never been in anything like that. And that's what I'm saying. I think it's the adrenaline or the shock or whatever. It's just something just explodes in your head.
Yeah.
When you're convinced you're dead. The thing that got me, I knew it was coming. I heard him coming at full throttle. But the way that cul-de-sac was, there was this big screen of Italian cypress trees that you can't see anything. And I didn't even know there was a driveway. This is the end of a cul-de-sac. It's a long paved road to nowhere. And his driveway comes out at the end of it. I didn't even know there was a house down there. And I just heard a car coming from somewhere at just wide open acceleration. So I knew something was about to happen. I had no control over it.
So you're riding along. He came from the left side of the road.
The right side.
He came from the right side.
He came from the right side.
Okay, but he hit you from the front. He hit your front tire.
Nope. He hit me. Shout out to Crank Brothers. The spindle of that Crank Brothers egg beater, I'm convinced, saved my life. Basically, it took the full dead-on impact from his car. I mean, don't get me wrong. It threw me 12 yards. But the spindle of that pedal took all of the impact and just slung the whole bike, as opposed to wrapping around and me getting my legs pinched between the bike and the car and everything else like that.
But it's and these are things that you cannot see in the video.
You can't see it in
From
the
when
video.
I saw the bike laid over, your front wheel was tacoed. That's where I saw the majority of the damage. So he T-boned you right at the bottom bracket. And
Yep.
and because I did, when you, smart enough, Kevin, he was talking about the adrenaline. He picks the camera up and pans it. Did it come off the bike completely?
No, I had to take it off the seat post.
Okay. He takes the camera off, and now all of a sudden he points it towards the guy and towards the car, which is fucking genius. Like, you gotta cover your ass on shit like that, and you can clearly see. Well, perceivably, I guess in the court of law, you can't make assumptions, but there's clearly a cosmetic scar or mark on the front bumper of that car, which in hindsight now it's about a 2.5 inch diameter hole that your spindle punched through his plastic bumper.
Yeah.
So what happened? Like, what, he hits you. What we don't see, it cuts off before the authorities arrive. What goes on next?
Right. I want to go back to. No, okay. So we'll talk about what he hits me. I take the camera off and document the damage to the bike. Document his car. Show that all my lights are on and blinking. Show that I'm in high visibility. I mean, I had day glow arm warmers on.
And, you did.
Yeah.
And helmet. I showed my helmet, and it's like. I know how this works in Texas. People are going to blame the cyclist.
Yep.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Bunch of cucks.
So I documented all that while I still swear the first habit of it, he's pretending to call 911. He's not even doing it.
Really? And you know that because?
Because he's got the phone to his ear, and that's when I'm saying, call 911, get a fucking ambulance out here.
Yeah.
And he's just, and that's when he's saying, get up, you're not hurt that bad, get up. And
you said, I can't walk, my knee's fucked.
And I actually did try to get up. It's like, maybe you're right, maybe I'm just in shock, and I'm not. I mean, because I looked, it's like there's no blood, there's no legs off of me or anything like that. And I go to stand up, and my right leg just collapsed. It's like it's not supporting me at all.
So the first key takeaway of this story, because this needs to be more than just the story itself, is if you find yourself in a situation like this, whether you're hit or you have an altercation, document. Take pictures, take videos.
I say that, and we'll definitely go deeper into this aspect of it. So I did have all of this documentation, and that's the part I want to make crystal clear. This is documented. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Who's at fault here? Oh, well, let me ask you guys. You guys watched it. And not even from a cyclist perspective, would you have any doubt who was at fault in that situation?
No, because here's why. At no point in time, immediately before you, the only perceivable way this could be your fault is a split second before you're hit, you see a stop sign behind you because you've ran a stop sign, and that was not there. Other than that, if you don't blow through a stop sign and you're riding down the road, when you get hit, there's no way it's your fault.
Okay.
Right?
Pretty much.
I mean, that's what I gather from it.
I think there's people that will dispute that just because there's so many people that hate cyclists. But, yeah, I think even cyclist haters would watch that videos and go, I didn't do nothing wrong.
Right.
And I bring that up because my reality at the time going into this whole situation was, well, this is cut and dried. This guy's at fault. He's obviously better off financially than most people. It's safe to assume he has decent insurance. This is black and white. This is cut and dried. His insurance company's going to take care of me. And I've never been involved with anything like this before, and hopefully never, ever will be again. And even with this documentation that's well outside of the ordinary, this was a 7-year process. And I mean, I probably ended up with more of a settlement at the end of it than I would have if we'd have sorted everything out in the first 6 months.
Okay, so
but it's not
that.
enough to make it worth my while.
What's the process? All right, I want to talk about that. Let's keep going in order.
Yes.
And
that's why I want to talk about
the resolution
this stuff,
at the end.
give a sense of reality to people.
Okay, so you finally, is there anything in between you telling him to call and he finally calls? What is there anything in that, or do we go directly to authorities? Right? And can you give us don't give us the street address, but who's going to come and take care and look after you?
Yeah, well, and that was part of a little bit of the issue as well for the whole process. is this a Denton County issue or is this a Tarrant County issue? That road is literally right below the county line of the two, but I believe his property is actually on the Denton County side. Where the accident happened was the Tarrant County, and that we'll touch on that later, but that plays a factor in things further down the road as well. Basically, different expectations from juries in the two counties, which this ended up thankfully not going to trial, but we'll talk about that later. This guy was not given a ticket.
So who shows up?
So
that's what I wanted to know. Who showed up?
I believe it was county sheriff. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if it was Denton or Tarrant. I believe it was Tarrant, but I don't remember.
They were the first ones there.
Actually, I said it was Memorial Day weekend. My parents were actually in town, and so while we're waiting for, I think fire got there first, and then an ambulance, and then the sheriff. I think was basically the sequence.
So there was an accident report filed.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
I made sure of that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is not. Yeah, we're getting everybody involved in this because this guy's already proven to me he's going to be a douchebag.
Yeah. That was quickly apparent from watching the video.
And that's why I was so irate. It was like, we're not even 15 seconds into this, and this guy's already trying to
diminish everything. Yeah.
And so I knew we were going to wait some time for services to get there. And so I think I called my dad's cell phone because my folks were in town. And I called my dad's phone. I said, all right, first off, I'm calling you. Let Jan know everything's as okay as it can be. I got hit by a car, but I'm intact. We're not no one's going to die or anything like that. But tell her, here's where I am. Y'all come get my stuff. And yes, ambulance will be coming, and I'll be taking an ambulance ride. And it was a good thing I put the filter of my dad before, not from her freaking out. She was ready to kick this guy's ass from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I think Brad knows my wife well enough to know you don't want to piss her off.
She showed me the knife.
And
she scares me. There's a healthy respect there. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
And I mean, we were literally.
But she's docile.
I was about to say she's pretty awesome though.
She's pretty docile.
She's beyond awesome. I mean, less than a 5-minute drive from my house. I was literally just outside my neighborhood when this happened.
Okay.
I mean, when that video starts, I'm taking a left out of my neighborhood to this back road.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a different story. And so they got there, and by this, this is a little podunk road that there's like 8 people that live down a 2-mile road. Nothing ever happens there. So there's all this activity. So everybody has to drive down there and see what the hell's going on. So there's a crowd gathering, and my dad's there, and and my mom was there, and Jan was there, and I think I told Dad and my mom to keep Jan over there. Oh, don't let her get near this guy. Sort of thing. It's not going to help us out in the long run.
Yeah.
But my dad was standing over with, I guess it was the guy's neighbors. And while emergency services were working on it, this guy starts telling his story of what happened.
Oh, what did you do wrong, Kevin?
I was riding my bicycle in his driveway.
Are you fucking serious? So he's actually lying. He's not interpreting the situation differently. He's lying about what actually happened.
I don't know. I don't know if this is an official lie for paperwork or to law enforcement, or if this is just what he's. I wasn't there. I just heard this secondhand from my dad. And here's the funny part of this. Evidently, my wife saw my dad standing next to the guy, listening to him doing and she said she saw him turn beet red. And she said, your dad was about to kick his ass. Yeah. Jan went over there and pulled my dad away from the guy.
Well, as someone who's seen the video, Brad, can you confirm what I'm about to say is in no point in time was Kevin ever not on a public road?
Right.
Oh, he even says it. He says it in the video.
When he's on 911.
Yeah, he goes, well, he was on a private road, and you go, no, I'm not. I'm on a public road.
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn. That's a whole other battle, is not only battling the injuries you're about to have to deal with and the repercussions from that, but someone who won't even be truthful about what actually happened. That's the battle then.
Right. And so we're going too deep into who's responsible and all that. I think it's cut and dried.
Okay.
I was in no way at fault.
Right.
And this guy was an asshole. No ifs, ands, or buts about that.
He's an asshole.
Dennis Leary, folks.
Yeah.
Look it up. So here's a takeaway, folks. If you get hit,
Get everybody involved.
we'll get everybody involved. And I know this is hard, and I can't remember. This is Texas specific, but I'm sure other stuff applies that's comparable in other states. There's a $1 threshold of damage in the initial incident report, and I think then it was $1,500 or $1,000, maybe even $2,000. But if the officer's perceived damage amount is less than that, we don't have to do a ticket.
He's going to look at your bicycle, and he's going to go, that's a bicycle. It's probably $500 worth of gear.
$200.
Yeah.
$200.
Yeah.
And
So educate them on the cost of what is going on right immediately.
If you're being interviewed for the incident report, the traffic report, whatever it is.
There is an outside chance that he knew Kevin Lee and knew that your penny pincher and your bike warily wasn't that expensive too, though.
This was a salsa via. Thank you very much.
I see your budget build. I'm
Well,
kidding.
there was that. I think I transferred my pieces from my Kona Jake. But anyway,
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
the frame was worth more than the incident report
Yeah.
threshold. Thank you very little.
Sorry.
So know the value of your
Well,
of your bike.
but make sure it's and that's basically why the guy wasn't given a ticket.
Yeah.
So
And also, I mean, did he ask you? I wonder if they even know to ask. You need to tell them if he doesn't ask you.
that part I can't remember specifically. I think he asked something like it. Now that bike's not worth more than $2,000 or something like that. And I think I said, yeah, it is, or something like that. Well, or maybe I said, not now. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand the reason for the
The
question.
context of the question,
Yes.
yeah, and how it relates to
And that's what I'm
your
getting.
situation.
So if you're underneath that damages threshold, and it's not health damages, it's the hardware involved.
Right.
Then to make their paperwork easier, they don't have to issue
Yeah.
a ticket. And love my law enforcement friends and definitely support law enforcement, but there's more than a few members of law enforcement that try to minimize their paperwork as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of the hiccup, that this guy was never ticketed. And I would love, and I know I'll never get it, but yeah, I would love, and I can't name the insurance company. I can't name the person. That's part of all the settlement. Technically, they're not admitting to any wrong. That's the way these things always work.
God.
Sort of thing. I can talk about what happened and my perceptions of it, but I can't take the risk of disparaging anyone or perceived disparaging anyone in particular. So there's not going to be any names. There's not going to be addresses.
Yeah.
involved.
But I guess initially the thing was, after you get out of the hospital, you're going to contact them and submit and say, hey, you guys are going to cover my medical bills, and that's where the problem starts.
Basically, and make no mistake, on the front end of it, the insurance company was extremely proactive.
Okay.
How so?
So basically, within days, they were covering the replacement cost of the bike, and they replaced it at actual value
Okay.
Oh, wow.
in days.
Wow.
And according to
That's a borderline admission of guilt right there, right? Or they're just trying to make things.
The
They're trying to give him
the bike shop,
extra
the bike
icing on his
shop
cake.
I was working with, which is the one I talk about every week,
Yeah.
which has lots of experience in these matters, says I've never seen it go like this before at all.
Wow.
Had you submitted the video to them?
No.
Did they ask for it, or
So
Did they know the video existed?
Not at that time.
Chess match.
Yes.
Yeah.
Check
Yeah.
it. Checkmate.
Queen to pawns 7. I don't know what that means.
And to this moment, I still don't know that they know the video exists.
So you didn't have to use that video?
We never went to trial.
Huh.
So
Okay.
we'll go into this. And so, again, I never had any anticipation. Oh, I'm going to sue you for everything in the world. All I want to do is be made whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like get my bike fixed, care for my medical bills. My concern was, what are the long-term again, the insurance company on the front end was being very proactive, and the insurance adjuster I was talking about was a nice guy, and he's like,
They always are.
do what you need to for your health. Let us know, and we'll reimburse you. And fantastic.
And real quick, your injuries, you tore some ligaments in your knee, right? Was that the
Basically sheared the meniscus in both knees. Whatever the highest level sprain is in my left ankle. There was a concussion involved, but it wasn't a debilitating concussion on site, but there were some long-term after effects from it. But the main thing is my knees don't work, and they still don't.
Yeah.
They're better now than they have been in years.
Have you considered PRP?
Here we go again.
Oh God. Have you considered dipping them in wax?
So, and we'll talk about all the health rehab and stuff some other time.
Okay.
But on the front end of it, my concern was, sure, I'm sure they're gonna pay for my ambulance and my emergency room, and if there is a repair that can be done that can fix it, they'll care for that as well. But my concern was, what if that doesn't fix it? What does that, what if something, we try a procedure and it doesn't work, and my legs don't work for the rest of my life or something like that. And I had a cycling friend that's an attorney that.
Initials JB?
No, someone else.
Oh.
He wouldn't lower himself to this level. Love you, John. But no, and that's part of what I want to talk about here. If you find yourself in this sort of situation, definitely get an attorney involved, but also get an attorney that works at this level of specialty. And I say personal injury, definitely. I think it's beneficial if it's somebody that has bicycle law personal injury involvement as well as, but don't, and this isn't knocking my friend who reached out to me. I think they were kind of the same perception I was. They weren't a personal injury attorney, but it was like, hey, let me help you with the insurance company. We'll not looking to get a big settlement, just to make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and nothing slips through the cracks. And that's all I was trying to do. It's like, yeah, if I just go with what the insurance company says, I might be shooting myself in the foot long term.
Yeah.
And this friend reached out basically along the same lines. We were on the same page. And I think this friend, who was not a personal injury specialist, kind of thought from just generic law perspective, this is cut and dried, open and shut. We're just going to make sure the procedures are cared for properly and there's no holes in the long-term outcome of this. And he got 2 years into it, and he's like, these guys just aren't doing anything.
They thought they could cut you a check for the bike and you're done.
Let me take a step back. They were very, very proactive, very nice. And as soon as I mentioned I was getting an attorney involved, again, and I justified it this way. No, hey, nothing against you, Bob. I can't remember the adjuster's name. Nothing against you, Bob. You've been fantastic. You've been extremely nice. Don't take this personally. And I just want to make sure I don't screw myself in the long run.
100%. They are not, those adjusters represent the insurance company
Sure.
and is to mitigate or minimize
Yes.
and
All
costs.
expenses.
That's
yeah.
it. It is to make you feel like you're being taken care of, but they don't have you as a priority.
I think in this case, this insurance company on the front end would have kept taking care of me, but it would have gotten to let's call it a $50,000 max, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's just a guess. Basically just reimbursing. I guarantee you there would have never been any lost wages or pain and suffering or anything like that involved. It would have just been, we're going to pay your medical bills. This is what's invoiced, and that's what you're going to get paid on. But literally the moment I mentioned an attorney, he didn't turn into an asshole. He's like, once you say that, we can't talk anymore. We're done.
Yeah.
I said,
That makes sense.
I get it.
Sure.
I'm not arguing that. And I do appreciate what you've done for me. And I was very appreciative. But once the attorney got involved, then it went beyond the adjuster, and the insurance company did nothing for 2 years. And then we were getting to the statute of limitations on it. And
You think that was their intention, was to just drag it out till...
As someone who's been through that, absolutely.
Yeah.
I had that issue with my truck. Yep.
Yeah, so
that's absolutely what they're doing.
They were wanting me to get up against the 2 years and go, oh, hey, just give me $20,000 and I'll walk away.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what they were shooting for. And we got towards the statute of limitations, 2 years, if I remember correctly. And my friend that was an attorney says that, look, this is outside my skill set at this point. I never thought it would get to this level. I thought it would be pretty straightforward. I have reached out to some friends of mine that specialize in this area, and we got actual personal injury attorney involved.
Mm-hmm.
And like within 24 hours, they filed suit because we were up against that 2-year deadline. And evidently that filing the suit caught the insurance company off guard. I guess they were not expecting that to happen.
And you know this because they told you?
That was the feedback from my attorneys.
Okay.
After they filed suit, and they said, "Yeah, these guys weren't expecting that."
But Kevin, the conversations were going so well. You liked everything that we were giving to you until Kevin realizes that they were trying to hold back on him.
No, I think standard operating procedure and things like this, and I could be wrong. I'm not an insurance company. I'm not a personal injury attorney. I think the standard operating procedure is most people want to be done with this shit and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of at that 2-year deadline, nobody wants to go to trial because that stretches things out longer. And then you're at, who knows what a jury's going to do at any time. There's no control of that.
Yeah.
So most people in these situations bail out and take whatever settlement they can put together by that 2-year deadline for statute of limitations is my perception of how it works 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So I went into that 20% realm, but which was also at this point, now we're in the middle of COVID as well. So everything that was related to trials and juries and things like that was kind of on hold. So that the COVID aspect of things probably added 18 to 24 months.
Oh, yeah, sure.
To the process as well. Even though it was a 7-year process, let's say it was probably in reality closer to a 5-year process if you take COVID out of the mix. And during that time, the blessing of it, for lack of a better term, is that I learned what wasn't recovering, or a lot of things. Like if I would have settled in those first 2 years, my expectation would be, well, I'll get better over time. It's just going to take some healing.
Yeah.
It took that 5 to 7 years for me to go, this is fucked. It's not. It's never going to be the same. It's getting better, but I'm never going to be back.
Did you have to have a knee surgery?
I did.
Okay.
That's one that I did put off for a few years because the first orthopedist I went to was like, yeah, it's a 50-50 shot. We can go in, we can do the surgery, and it might make things better. It's not going to make it 100%, or you might not notice any difference. So that was the first orthopedist. So that was within the first 6 months. And so that was the perception. That was part of that 2-year statute of limitations. It was like, well, it didn't sound like there was really any benefit to the surgery. Was my perception at that. And that was the biggest quite frankly, the biggest turnaround from when we got the personal injury attorneys in the mix. They sent me to a specialist that really knows his shit. And I wish I could give him a shout out. I can't do that either. And I started working with this guy, and he was like, I don't know why that guy told you that. I'm looking at your MRI right here. I can go into that knee, and it's going to feel 100% better. 6 months down the road, you'll still know you're not 100%, but compared to where you're at now, it's going to be a significant upgrade. So we did that, and it was that significant upgrade, and I thought I was on top of the world. Hey, we're back in the groove, but then a couple years after that, it started failing on me again, and this was like last year.
Yeah.
And I went back to the doctor again, and it's like, can we do that procedure again, or what? You know, what are my options? He's like, no, this is degenerative. You're fucked for life.
Yeah.
All we can do is do things that prolong it as much as possible. Ultimately, I'm going to have both knees replaced. There's no way around that. What we're trying to do is buy as much time
until that happens
to put that off, because the current knee replacement. If I get my knees replaced now, I'm going to more than likely have to have them replaced again.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
So we're hoping to buy 10 years or more, or the technology for knee replacements gets better.
I guess how much pain do you want to deal with until it gets to that point?
Right.
Or 10 years?
Right.
What's your warranty, Kevin?
And so, again, that was kind of, in the long run, that was kind of the benefit of things stretching out. It took until last summer for me to realize the predicament I was really in for my long-term health. And I know anyone listening to this is painting a picture. Oh, Kevin made bank on this. Nope. That is not the way this works. So last summer we were supposed to go to trial, but that was something that, like they sprung on us, or at least sprung on me. I don't know who dropped the ball, where, or what. But hey, yeah, we're going to trial in a week. It's like, what do you mean we're going to trial in a week? A, I've got vacation. And two, this was when I was in the middle of, man, my knees they're going downhill. And it's like, and that's what I asked my attorneys. It's like, so, okay, if we have to go to trial now, I'm prepared for it, but how does this work? I can already tell I am going to need something else down the road. I don't know how far down the road or what it is. And
what was their sword in the ground that you guys couldn't, without whatever you can and can't say, what was their sword in the ground that they weren't willing to do that caused it to go to the point of going to trial, or almost going to trial?
You mean the insurance company?
Yes. Like why couldn't you guys come to a settlement? What was their reasoning behind it? What were they saying no to?
They never attempted to settle. They were just trying to bite. They were waiting for us
so you, in order to get a response, you had to get them in court or make them feel like they were going to have to go to court.
Again, not a lawyer. I'm not an expert in this stuff. My perception is whoever asks for, or whoever offers the settlement on the front end, is going to be the loser. So that's kind of the game. You don't want to say, hey, do you want to settle this?
Yeah.
Again, that's my perception. I don't.
No, that makes sense.
But in turn, I never had any issue with this going to trial either. Again, knowing I had this video, and again, even knowing how much people in Texas hate cyclists, generally speaking, I was personally confident that the video would sway almost any jury one way or another.
I would say, trying to put myself in a non-cyclist mind, if you were on 377, or 377, that's not the right good road because it has a huge shoulder
in places.
In places.
But if you were on a medium to medium heavily trafficked road, and we're not talking about an interstate, with little to no, if you're on 407, if you're out there by Harvest, right? That's a death trap. If you're out there riding that at rush hour, 9 o'clock in the morning, 8:30, I could see, man, you got a 50-50 shot in this. But you were on a country road. You're on a residential street, pretty much, right? I mean, you weren't even on. It wasn't even a county road, was it?
I think it's a county road.
But I mean,
think-
I could tell by looking at it, as many roads as we've ridden on, like that is a low trafficked road,
Right,
extremely low trafficked
I
road.
mean, you guys know how safety cognizant I am,
Sure.
and how much I do
Sure.
preach that. And I think the video demonstrated I practice what I preach.
Yeah.
There was, yeah. If there had been a textbook of how should a cyclist, even from the worst person's perspective of how a cyclist that's allowed to ride on the road, don't want to admit, but yes, technically they're allowed to, they would go, well, this guy did it the way I would accept.
Sure.
I think that's a fair position. Yes.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell 100% just from the view, but it did not look like you were riding in the middle of the road. It didn't look like you were hugging the shoulder, which you're not supposed to. You're supposed to, if there's no shoulder, you're within your right to ride in the middle of the lane. That's what the law says.
Right.
But I try not to do that just if cars are coming. But
I ride the right tire track is basically what I do. If I was in a car, this would be the right tires.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. So my interpretation was correct. You were
To the right.
You were to the right of center, but giving cars enough space to pass, but also keeping you're within your right to be in a defensive position to not go off the side of a road that doesn't have a shoulder.
Go off the side of the road, potholes or chip edge,
Yeah.
or gravel, or
Yeah.
and it gives you that extra 3 feet when the dog comes running out of the side.
And you guys check me on this. I want to make sure people know, if you're riding on a road that has no shoulder, you can have the full lane.
Yeah.
You can put yourself in a position to where you feel safe on the road because there's no shoulder.
That's how the law sees it.
Well,
that's
no,
not
I know.
motorists see
Well,
it.
That's
here's
how
the
the
deal.
general
I don't want
populations.
people to think that if they're riding on a road that doesn't have a shoulder, that you have to put yourself already in a vulnerable position by riding that line 1 inch off the edge of the road.
No.
You can give yourself a little bit of padding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's people that may not know that.
No,
So-
and we can definitely discuss bike safety and bike laws on another episode.
I think the best thing that came out of this is that
Kevin.
you are here.
Yeah.
that's a
and
huge plus.
Your knees are shit, but you're here with us, and you tell corny jokes, and you put on great bike rides, and you're a great friend, and that's the best part that came out of this. That I think we can all agree on. I hated that it happened to you, but I'm so happy that it turned. I mean, I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah.
I mean, like let's just be honest.
Yeah. I'm thoroughly surprised that the video never was utilized. I would have thought that would have been like, I mean, obviously it was your ace in the hole, and I'm sure your attorney
Maybe it was.
sitting
So
on it.
that's the funny thing about it, and I welcome. And we'll try to wrap this up here because we're going longer than usual. But
Yeah.
I do welcome feedback with anybody with the insurance experience or the legal experience that maybe my logic is flawed at the value of the video. At least to me, my attorneys never seem to make a big deal about it, but they may have been treating it as their ace in the hole. I don't.
That had to be an ace in the hole.
One would think, but maybe I've watched too many Matlocks. I don't know. Is that a corny enough joke for you there?
I'm thinking. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems to me that it is that thing that if they wanted to get really shitty, you just feel like, you know what, we have a video of this whole thing that kind of settles everything out. Or maybe they thought it was a little bit shaky. I don't know.
Well, and that's so. I'm having concussion head now, and we'll talk about concussions in another episode.
Yeah.
I can't remember the word I'm thinking of. Discovery.
Yeah.
So in the discovery process, yes, the insurance company was given access to the video. Whether they ever viewed it or not, I don't know.
You know that they did.
One would think
a diligent attorney is going to go over all discovery.
But maybe it never got to that because we weren't going to trial yet. So again, my attorneys never said, "Oh yeah, we're on top of the world with this." My attorneys were confident that. Well, my attorneys were confident I would never have to pay a medical bill out of pocket. There's even if we get the worst jury in the world,
Yeah.
you're going to win at least at that level. But where a jury may go sideways is awarding other damages that might actually put money in your pocket of any kind.
Yeah.
They might just settle for what your actual damages are,
Yeah.
and that's it. And I said I'm willing to go to that case at this point, I'm frustrated with the insurance company. I just want them to lose at this point.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to get rich off this, and I don't want to sound morose about it, but the reality is I didn't lose any limbs.
Yeah.
I didn't die.
You can still work.
I can still work.
Make a living.
So in a jury situation, there will be a perception that
It wasn't that big of a deal.
It wasn't that big a deal.
He's here. He's fine.
So we'll pay his medical bills. That's fine.
Yeah.
So that's a realistic expectation. What my guess is, if it had gone to that level, there's a high likelihood that the insurance company would have probably worked very hard, and maybe it would be very simple to do, to get that video not admitted as evidence for some reason or another. That's my guess, is if it got to a jury trial, that probably would have been their focus, would be to take that out of it. So let's wrap this up real quick. Let me walk you through the process. We were supposed to go to trial April 22nd, and about a month ago, I got a call from my attorneys. Hey, guess what? The insurance company asked us if we would be willing to sit down with a mediator. So it's not the same thing as offering a settlement. It's not that much of a, hey, we're throwing in the towel, or we're on the week. But hey, instead of us, this is pretty standard. Nobody really wants to go to trial. That's a lot of expense and a lot of extra time and a lot of resources spent.
Especially when the plaintiff has a video.
Okay.
That again, solidifies his
that was never brought up as a specific
being
part
at fault
of
of getting hit, but that's my opinion on it. I think that they knew what they were doing.
I think they saw the value in it.
So the insurance company offered a mediator, which was a 4-hour session, like 8:30 in the morning to 12:30 in the afternoon.
Had to be boring as shit.
Well, thankfully, I actually didn't have to be there. I just had to be available by phone for my attorneys to go, all right, here's the latest offer. What do you think?
Oh.
So they called at 8:45, and it was like, well, they came in. We gave our side to the mediator. They gave their side to the mediator, and their first offers something $30,000 for everything, something like that.
Yeah.
And the reality is, the way it works in Texas, every state's different. I am not going to get extremely political here, but here is one thing I am going to throw into the mix. It's definitely part of the popular lexicon these days that everybody's just suing the hell out of everybody and getting rich off of it. It doesn't work that way in Texas. And anybody that's ever had any of these situations knows this. Here's the caveat on that. And yes, I'm sorry he lost the use of his legs, but our governor did take full advantage of that system and got his millions of dollars in his personal injury lawsuit. Sure. And as soon as he got that, then he made sure there was other legislation put in that made it very, very difficult to get large settlements in the state of Texas. So it's almost a near impossibility. I say that to get to the roundabout way of, in Texas, particularly with a traffic claim, insurance limits usually $250,000, somewhere in there. If you're trying to settle before going to jury, you're not going to get anywhere near that $250,000. If they think it's going to get up towards $250,000, the insurance company is going to go, oh, we ain't got nothing to lose. We're going to go to court.
Right.
So the reality is, if you settle prior to court, the rule of thumb that was presented to me, if you try to settle out of court, 50% of whatever the insurance
max
limit
allowable
is a realistic goal.
I know we're going along, but I have a question.
Sure.
I guess it was a couple of years ago. I had a bike wreck, and I was pretty certain I broke ribs, and I ended up going to the med help and get x-rays or whatever. And you know, when you go and file an insurance claim on some kind of injury like that, you get a letter in the mail from your insurance company saying, hey, we just want to make sure, was this an accident? Was this your fault? Was this someone else's fault?
That was the stuff my first attorney took care of once we got the attorney involved.
Okay.
So I can't.
You're not even sure how that. You weren't privy to the background of all that.
I know I had significant pocket expenses that still weren't covered for various reasons, but that were paid off by the settlement. Make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The settlement money was a decent sized settlement in this sort of situation, but the vast majority of those funds went directly to the medical bills and the lawyer's fees. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Again, I got enough out of it to justify taking a flyer and prepaying on my tributary that I'm still trying to sell bikes to pay for in the long run.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll go ahead and front myself. I'll front myself alone. But going back to if you're going to settle 50% of whatever that person's insurance coverage is still considered fairly ambitious. And at least my attorneys were treating it like, hey, you seriously want to consider this if it's offered at this point? And I said, well, here's the deal, guys. We have to get my wife involved in this part of the conversation because she's more pissed off than I am. I'm pretty sure I know what she's going to say. And Jan was like, no, fuck it. We're going to court. I don't care if we don't see a dime. We're going to court. That's a bullshit offer.
Yeah, that's what a good spouse does. Always has your back like that.
And she's a baddie.
She is. So.
And meanwhile, this guy goes home and gets to crack a beer, and nothing ever happens to him.
I can't.
Okay. I
don't know.
All right, let's don't go that way.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. And we'll talk about some of those aspects offline.
Yep.
Anyway, did I hit all the?
No, that's it. I'm glad we finally got
there?
to do it. And again, I speak on behalf of our 5s of 10s of listeners. We're happy that you're here and that you still tell shitty jokes.
I am as well, but I really wanted to get this out there because I know people have a perception of it's just black and white. They were in the wrong. Well, this is as black and white as it gets, and it's a 7-year process. And no, Kevin did not get rich. And I'm not saying that, like, people should get rich in these situations. I just know that's the percent. Oh, you sued and you got a big old settlement.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you got a Amazon delivery?
I think it's Brown Santa.
Are you expecting something?
Always.
Anyway, real quick, like, with all the ability that you can document everything, if for some terrible reason an incident occurs, get as much documentation, get as many witnesses as you can. Try to cover all your bases, like as hard as that is to talk about. I think it's the biggest thing here.
Document.
And stay vigilant.
Make sure the police get an accurate report as much as possible. Lobby like hell for that ticket to be written. My understanding is that was one of the things that really stretched this out. If there had been a citation written, it might have sped up the process.
We don't have time to talk about how pissed off I am about that.
We'll talk about that another time. How about that?
Let's do it.
Hey, everyone.
Say it, Brad.
Go ride your bikes.